Very good morning. In this video, we are going to talk about the contribution and the way the three researchers, Gerber, Soderbergh, and Goodman, they try to demarcate the region or the border between the safe and the unsafe parts of this graph. Now, it was clear from the experiments that anything, if a point lies here, then the product is safe. Actually, the failure point will never lie in this region. This is the situation. So, it was observed that no failure point lied in this region actually. Most of the failure points lied to the outside of a certain region. It means that the region to the inside of this approximated line was safe region. Why inside one was safe? Because all the failure points experimentally lied in some particular clusters, you can say, or we can say that there was some safe region. So naturally, safe region would not be within the clusters. It would be somewhere where there was no point of failure, or there were very minimum points of failure. So we could see from the graph experimentally that there was hardly any point of failure in this region, that is this region. So it was treated as the region of safety, and these three researchers, each one of them, they tried to demarcate that particular region by their own lines. Now Gerber observed that if we draw a line between SC, that is the endurance limit, and SUT, we could be easily able to demarcate that particular region between the safe and the unsafe parts, or the safe and unsafe regions. So his line came to be known as Gerber line. Now Goodman also tried to demarcate between the safe and the unsafe parts of this graph. He draw a straight line between the SE, that is the endurance limit, and SUT. Now one thing also is important to observe, that irrespective of the situation, whether the material is ductile or brittle, it was observed that most of the materials follow this line. Although this line joins SC, that is the endurance limit, and SUT, but when we talk of the fluctuating stresses, fluctuating load, the ductile and the brittle nature of the material seem to be somehow overshadowed by the endurance limit. That is why most of the material followed the Goodman line criteria, and this was the criteria irrespective of the nature of the material also. Now there were another person called Goodman. He also joined, but his criteria was different. He chose a different criteria. He joined the endurance limit with the SYT, that is the yield strength. He joined he joined the endurance limit with the ultimate tensile strength with a straight line, and he got a line which came to be known as the Soderbergh line in his name. So all these three persons, they tried to divide the region. They tried to define the divide between the safe and the unsafe region by different curves or lines, which came to be known by their names only. Also we have now we try to define. Please see that the Goodman line is somehow more safer than the Gerber line, because it is somehow more, we can see 1-2 dots, this dot actually 1-2 dots more penetrating into the region below that of the Gerber line. This is the Gerber line. So So this is actually Goodman line is more safer than the Gerber line because it lies more inside the into the region, or into the inside of the region, and Soderbergh line is in fact the safest of all, and it is in fact a line which is which is very very conservative in nature because it does not even considers yielding. We can also see it is more conservative in nature, Soderbergh line, because it need not even consider yielding in this case, which is of course clear from the graph also. When something lies here, when something even lies here, as per the Soderbergh criteria, if we have a point of failure, if any, in case here also, then these are the cases where the stress has not even reached the SYT, that is the yield point. So that is why this Soderbergh line is more conservative. Also, we have a line which is represented by dots which joins the SYT, that is the yield points SYT with SYT on both the axes. This line, it is actually called as the Langer line, Langer, Langer line. From the competition point of view, this line becomes important, but however this line is also called as the limit on the first cycle of stress. This limit on the first cycle of the stress, because if the parts yields, if anyhow the part has yielded either on the sigma A or sigma M axis, it means it has failed regardless of the safety in the fatigue. Of course, when yielding has occurred, it means it has failed. That is why it is called as the limit on the first cycle of stress, or it is also called as Langer line. Both the names are right. First name is the Langer line. Langer line. Why it is called as Langer line? Because of the probably because Langer is a person who draw this line, who try to draw it, and why it is called as the limit on the first stress? Limit on the first stress because of its nature. First name is Langer line. That name is because of its discoverer, and this name is there because of its nature, because of its work, what this line tends to do. Now the equation. See, equation of the line is this: x by a plus y. This is the equation of a line in the intercept form. We can already know from the basics of class 12th. When we try to put the equation of x, in place of x, please put sigma m, because sigma m is, that is the mean stress, is plotted on the x-axis. In place of y, we can also put sigma a, because sigma is plotted on the y-axis. And SYT and SC, why they have come? Because we see that SE is plotted where? On the sigma axis, that is, it is the y-intercept. And what is this? SUT. SUT is the x-intercept. SUT or SYT? Here SYT we have taken because it is a Soderbergh line. SYT is the y-intercept, x-intercept in case of the Soderbergh line. That is why this equation is come. The only difference between the Goodman line equation and the Soderbergh line equation is in this term. Because this is the actually Goodman line. Goodman line. And in case of the Goodman line, the x-intercept is SUT and not YT. That is why this difference has occurred. Now we also define these are the things which we have already discussed. It is not necessary to construct a scale diagram enough to construct a fatigue diagram. This is correct, but when we want to solve any question graphically, generally it happens in the not in the university examination, but these situations will occur that a student is or a candidate is required to solve the fatigue question graphically. These conditions occur when the person is writing the conventional exam of competition, generally engineering service exam or UPSC examination. When he is writing, then he may be required to make this diagram graphically also. So please do not ignore the graphical portion also. But as of now, it is very very important to know the equations also which we have discussed. Now we move to the modified Goodman diagram. Modified Goodman diagram, and what are modified Goodman diagrams now? These diagrams play a very important role in the